Welcome, 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 everybody, to the Closer to the Edge podcast, the anti-sleep aid for anyone sick of political self-censoring and hushed tones on the left-wing podcast at a time when we need to be loud. We're here to kick down the goddamn door with a bullhorn duct taped to a chainsaw, giving a megaphone to fighters and dissenters, as well as platform those who they want to silence.
Hell yeah, that's the host of Political Drain. He's got the bark of a sergeant, the bite of a watchdog, and zero patience for bullshit. Drill Sarge Doug. Thanks, Doug.
And from the front lines of truth with ink-stained hands and zero fucks to give, people, my co-host is Rook T. Winchester.
So buckle the fuck up.
Yes, here we are for podcast number 2. What's going on, Rook? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. You know, every day's a battle, but I'm battling.
Well, you know what I always say, tomorrow we fight. Listen, I got something for you. I need to know, have you ever heard of something called the alt-left pipeline? The alt-left pipeline.
I have not. Tell me more.
So, two, strong, manly men like ourselves who are out here being loud. What are we talking about? Chainsaws and bullhorns. It seems to me like this is exactly what we needed. There's a whole little movement out there of people who think it's just guys that think that they want to be the people to fix cars, muscle guys with bandanas. They're saying that the left needs to have more manly men, and they're looking for applications to the alt-left pipeline. People who are on the left who don't want to be pussies. This is what it's about. I don't see why we can't be a part of this alt-left pipeline. I put your name in because nobody is going to say that you're not a manly guy. We all know I'm a manly guy. I think we need to be a part of this, man. I hope you don't mind that we did this. Do you mind if I show you what it looks like?
Please.
All right, fellas. If you're in the alt-left pipeline, you need to embrace your masculinity because we're doing man shit over here. All these little dick motherfuckers on the right have hijacked all these terms that don't even fucking apply to them. They talk about being blue-collar, motherfucker. I worked 360 days last year. You think I need to tell one person about that? Nah, bro, because it's not a motherfucking trophy. You just do that shit as a motherfucking man if that's what you gotta do.
That's right.
You throw me in the motherfucking jungle, I'm Tarzan. Throw you motherfuckers in the jungle, you're gonna try to hunt Bambi, mount it to your wall and be like, look what I did. Y'all weird ass motherfuckers.
Let's stop there. Rook, I feel big already. We need this in our lives. Are you ready for the alt-left pipeline, Rook?
I'm intrigued. This guy's pumping me up. This guy, I'd like to hear a little bit more. Okay. Can you keep going?
Point about says I got an EV because I'm trying to save the motherfucking environment, and it's 600 horsepower, and it'll gap your fucking 98% of your bitch ass loud motherfucking little dick cars, but you motherfuckers cry, oh, it's a fucking microwave. It's not why I got it. And I voted for her, and I'd do it again. No man should be in motherfucking power because you guys see how easy you motherfuckers are gaslit. Look what happened to Charlie Kirk. If you think that wasn't anything but the government, you're a stupid motherfucker. And now some dudes on your side are coming out and being like, oh, my own side's calling me a cuck because I'm questioning this? Yeah, dude, you little motherfuckers are a bunch of fucking followers, bro. You're a bunch of sheep. You're a bunch of birds. Ain't no motherfucking man. You can't even protect your own motherfucking women. You fucking brainwash them into fucking being like, yeah, take away rights, take away my bodily autonomy. Ain't no fucking man shit. I gotta protect your women from you.
Oh!
Anyways, you're an all left, man. Grow a little hair on your chest and start embracing this shit. And if you want to talk, get on this motherfucking app and start talking. Fuck these motherfuckers, man. They've hijacked all the good terms. Blue collar is an immigrant, motherfucker. The hardest working people in this world are immigrants. You motherfuckers don't know what blue collar is. You just fucking wear it as a fucking badge and want to be applauded for it. Ain't no fucking man.
Closer to the Edge podcast. I'm here to tell you that was bad as shit. Rook, I'm just saying. I know I'm a child inside. I know I'm a child, Rook. But come on.
I really
that?
enjoyed watching that. Thank you so much, Doug. I agree. They've hijacked a lot of these terms. They've tried to redefine what it means to be a man. And yeah, it's good to hear people speaking up. And yeah, I think you said you submitted our application.
Well, I submitted the application. They're processing it, but they said that I need to wear a tank top and lose some weight. But I know that you're strong, you're fit, right? So you're already in there. I'm starting to pump the iron. I think you're going to get in before me.
Well, if they don't accept you, I don't want to be in. So it's either they take both of us or none, or neither of us. So, well, I ain't going in by myself. You're coming with me. Let me ask you a question. Is the alt-left pipeline, I see that he's a manly man, but I assume the alt-left pipeline, you could be any gender and join the alt-left pipeline. I didn't know if this was more of him expressing a need to get more men into the pipeline, or if you could provide some clarification and let me know, can anyone apply?
Yes. So I think the idea is it's like a counterbalance from the toxic pipeline that I don't know what's going on with white boys these days that goes straight from Fortnite online play to bitch make me a sandwich, right? Whatever that pipeline is, whatever that toxicity is, they're trying to counter it. But that doesn't mean that women haven't been throwing their voice in the bag. Listen to this. I got one for you.
You dumb, drunk-ass, beer-belly, no pull-up doing, motherfucking window-licking, mouth-breathing, slack-jawed Neanderthal, fucking loser-ass, chode, pogue-ass bitch secretary. Fuck you. Everyone hates you, including your own mother. You dumb...
Bro!
I love that. I hope Pete gets to see that.
We gotta send it to him.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I'm sure Pete, I mean, maybe we send it to Pete's mom. Pete's mom could probably get it all the way to him. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I heard Pete's in a little bit of trouble. Do you hear about that?
No, I didn't. What's this? Oh, more trouble than after his shit?
Pete Hegseth has been back on Signal recently, and this time talking about plans to bring in troops into different American cities and use the military. And so Pete maybe needs to start being a little more careful, I suppose, with his...
You got to be kidding me. Why the hell wouldn't you just stop using it? I mean, you got caught already.
Yeah, you'd think so, but these guys don't seem to learn very fast. I don't know if learning's just not their thing.
If learning is not their thing.
Doers, I don't know. I guess, yeah, they just don't seem to learn lessons. They don't seem to make adjustments. They just keep doing the same stupid shit every day in, day out. Yeah, I don't know. Go check out Google News and check out what Pete's up to. And maybe you can just tap into his Signal directly and just read it there. I don't know.
This is for the manly men who do what they do. Like I said, I respect women, right? I protect my family. I don't think that there's a problem if you have a different race than me. I think that saving the earth is cool. I think that maybe being educated, going to school is a good thing. that makes me a part of the alt-left pipeline. What are some of your qualifications? Do you have these qualifications, Rook? Because I sure told him you did when I put your application in. It was with the cartoon and everything.
Well, I mean, I won't tell you how much I can bench press, but no, I think just to be outspoken, to be like you said, sticking up for the people that don't have a voice. I think a real man sticks up for people that are being bullied or taken advantage of. I feel like, I embody a lot of those qualifications. So hopefully, I mean, you sound like a slam dunk, but maybe I'll have to brush up my resume a little bit more. But I think just speaking out, speaking up, staying loud, not giving up, there's plenty of different characteristics.
I believe our next guest, both man and women, have a bunch of these qualifications, actually.
Yeah, well, we've invited a couple friends of mine, names Adam, Alan, and Lizzy. They worked with a gentleman named Ayman Soliman, who was released from jail. In a rare instance, they were able to beat ICE, get him out of jail, restore his asylum. And so Adam and Lizzy worked with Ayman Soliman at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. And when Ayman was locked up, Cincinnati Children's Hospital fired him. His co-workers, Adam and Lizzy, who we're about to meet here, stuck up for him, and in doing so lost their jobs. So kind of what we're talking about, sticking up for people, and a man and a woman. But I guess it just goes to show that, gender doesn't matter if you're willing to speak up and do the right thing. I think that's a characteristic we can embody no matter what's hanging between our legs. I think Adam and Lizzy.
That's okay. Don't say no more. That's it. Leave it there. That's what the alt left pipeline would do. Leave it right there.
Music a bubble. Music a bubble.
Fellow loud and proud terrorists out there, all of you out there that are Antifa, anti-fascist, I am extremely proud to bring to you today Adam, Alan, and Lizzy Diop. Now, these are two Cincinnati children's chaplains who were fired just for supporting Ayman Soliman. And if you don't know who that is, we're going to get into it. We were talking before this all about, what it means to be in this fight, what it means to be loud and without the fear. So having them today means a lot to me, and I'm sure it does to you as well, Rook. You want to say anything before we let our guests speak and tell us about themselves?
No, I don't really want to get in their way. I just want to thank you for being here tonight, and so we can talk about what happened to both of you and what happened to Ayman and what people can learn from that situation and the tactics we used. But I guess before we go too much further, for someone just coming into this who doesn't know, would either one of you be willing to, I guess, back up a few months and let us know what happened at Children's Cincinnati Hospital?
All right. I will say that about 4 years ago, I was working still as a chaplain at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and we got an incredible new employee we were all really excited about. He introduced himself as Ayman Soliman, and he is an Arabic, Spanish, and English-speaking chaplain who studied Islam as a Muslim imam and studied Christianity in graduate school. So he had the multilingual, multi-faith education that all of us didn't have. And he joined our NICU team. And over time, all of us came to deeply respect the work that he did, the care he provided. He worked a lot, a little too much. I talked to him about that a couple times. And then we learned, the beginning of the summer, that his asylum status had been taken from him. And then we had an emergency meeting on July 9th with our team at Spiritual Care Department, where we learned that he had been detained by ICE. There was literally no reason for his asylum status to be taken. There was even less reason for his detention. And we were all just extremely upset about that, from our leadership down to all the chaplains and the chaplain residents. Adam, do you want to take it from there?
Let me say one more time. So your mic just broke up just a little bit. The connection. What was the date he was taken into custody again?
July 9th.
Okay. Go ahead, Adam. Take it
Yeah,
away.
sure. So, yeah, that was a great summary, Lizzie. Thank you. The On July 9th, we were called into a meeting and told that he'd been arrested by ICE, which I wish we could say was a surprise for us. It was a shock in the sense that like we didn't want that to happen. But his asylum status had been taken and hadn't been given any reason, and so he was, for that reason, vulnerable. And they contacted his lawyers and told him that they were just going to bring him in for like a routine meeting. And then there they interrogated him for 3 hours. And when we hung out with him afterward, he told us that he told them like, I'll answer any questions you guys have. I don't have anything to hide. And that he just did his best to be kind and open with the ICE agent that was with him, because he was like, this might be the only time that this gentleman ever really encounters somebody from Islam. So he just wanted to like present himself as kind as he could. And so he did. And then the ICE agent told him, after leaving for a moment, he came back and said, "I'm really sorry, Mr. Solomon, but I have to arrest you." And then Ivan said, well, why? And he said, well, to be honest with you, I don't know. So, already like they're off to a pretty bad start, like he can't even explain why he's arresting them. So we kind of sprung into action. There's several social justice organizations around Cincinnati, and several of them are faith-based. And then just through all of us being in the faith-based community, we got contacted. And so I got called by one of them and told that there was going to be a press conference with as many faith leaders as they could have outside of the Department of Homeland Security. And just a second. Hey, if you guys want to close these, go ahead. Yeah, thanks. And I told their spiritual care department, thinking all of us would just spring into action and run down there. And a good number of us did. I'm sorry to say that it wasn't as many as I'd hoped. There kind of instantly became evident that there was some fear and some anxiety around like the gravity of the whole situation. Lizzy showed up for the press conference. Obviously, I was there, and then about 5 other people from our department were there. There was about a total of 150 people that showed up from all over. A few of the patient families that Ayman had served, a few nurses, a few doctors, and then a whole mess of interfaith people, just rabbis, imams, and then members of Ayman's mosque. And then from there, we just kind of got to work, and I started just reaching out to anybody that I knew that was within the social justice sphere that, what can we do? And there was
that's the night also that I agreed to write the letter, the open letter for clergy as well at that press conference.
Yeah, there was a couple of organizations that were there with us. There was Undivided, Ignite Peace, and I'm sure there's others that are escaping my mind at the moment. If you remember them, just throw them out there, Lizzie. But a few of those organizers just started asking like, hey, what resources do we have right now? And so they said, let's put together a letter. And then Lizzie got voluntold to do that. Or she volunteered, and then I backed her up on Lizzie's an excellent writer. So she wrote an open letter, and about 400 faith members signed it. Then another one of the ministers, he's his name is Claire Hostetler. He's 73, and this guy, like, he's been arrested so many times. He's a chaplain for hospice, and he's been arrested at like various protests and things. He's just he's hardcore, and just the kind of person I want to be when I'm 73, man. Like
that is awesome.
He called me and was like, hey, there was like 400 people that signed that letter. Let's get a hold of some people and see what else we can do. So that's where a handful of us put together a rally at the Roebling Bridge. and that was on July 17th. So, we're talking only 8 days after Ayman was arrested.
So before we get to that bridge, because that is a pivotal moment in this story that I want to get to. But before that, the letter, this was going out to all clergy in Cincinnati. Was this just to people who knew Ayman? Was this just to, was it to the news? What was this? What was the purpose of writing this letter, Lizzy?
That's a great question. And the purpose, I think, was to illustrate to everyone in power in this situation that our eyes as faith leaders were on Ayman and the injustice or justice that he faced. So it was mainly just a stance saying that the interfaith community is watching. I want to backtrack a little bit just for the sake of the story to be clear. The weekend after Ayman was detained, a huge group of us did a demonstration outside of Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and that included almost every member of our department and a ton of other people, and the press.
Yeah, there was like 300, a little over 300 people at that.
That was huge. And then I also was able to make a TikTok that was viewed, I don't remember how much, a few 100,000 times, and then a Facebook post that was shared a few thousand times. So Ayman had said, tell people what's happening to me and tell people how unfair it is. So I think we also had that in mind, which is like to honor kind of his wish in the face of this horrific thing to happen. So we wanted to tell everyone what was happening and how unfair it was. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
No, and around that time, Liz, you should probably also share that on, what was it, the 14th that you were interviewed by the news too about visiting Ayman?
Yeah, on Sunday after he was detained on a Wednesday. On that Sunday, I was blessed with the opportunity to visit him in the detention center. And he had such a limited number of a lot of visitors that I was deeply honored that I was able to be one of those. Mm-hmm. And so honored to be able to, I wanted to provide care for him. That wasn't exactly what happened. He more provided just like such a compassionate expression of what had happened and how he was supporting people in detention. And after that, the Monday morning, that was Sunday, Monday morning, the news media, WCPO reached out to me to see if I would be able to do an interview related to that situation. And I agreed to do that interview on Monday morning.
I mean, sitting there across from somebody who's in a detention center. Let's first start with, and I'll give you a chance, Rook, but I mean, there's just so much going on as I'm hearing this. On the likelihood of even knowing what detention center he's in is 50-50, right? Like he could have been whisked away to anywhere because they're not sending people to anything having to do with their community or where they're coming from. So just that look alone, being able to see him, I'm sure was amazing. But that feeling of sitting face to face with someone who's in the detention center, giving you comfort. I mean, what in the actual... it's such a testament. It's a testimony, kind of like how he spoke to the ICE agent. So, I mean, if you don't know who this guy is, or if you're only hearing about him, just hearing stories like these is more than humanizing. It is it's refreshing. It's astonishing. It should, shock you as a listener to hear the type of people. These aren't the worst of the worst, right? These are the best of the best sometimes. I mean, unbelievable.
That was what
I want to be real clear,
yeah.
too. The visit, when I visited him on that Sunday, he said that he felt like he was being sustained by his faith. And he felt like God had brought him there and put him on that pod for this one particular young man who had been searching for a Muslim mentor. Wow. And he was blessed with the chance to teach this young man the things that he had been yearning to learn about. And he saw God's presence within that interaction and was so honored by the chance to do that.
Wow.
Amazing. I have a question. How long had he been in jail before they threw him into solitary confinement? And can you talk a little bit about that?
It
I
was a
don't
few
remember
weeks,
exactly how
maybe the
long.
third
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, third or fourth. It might have been as early as a third. He had advocated for a space to be designated for Islamic prayer, because they pray 5 times a day. So there was an interfaith space, and he just kind of got like a portion of it, if I understand correctly, like designated for that prayer. Because there's like a cleanliness ritual and things like that that they want to honor. And there was a particular officer who was not accommodating to even letting them use the interfaith space, just the general space.
Adam's
And
nicer. I would say he
when
was a
he
racist,
advocated for
Islamophobic jerk.
himself, that was taken as like, yeah, yeah. So when he advocated for himself, the officer, didn't take that well, and then accused him of obstructing his duties. And then it was like the next day that he was put into solitary on top of that. It wasn't even the same day. It wasn't like as if it was anything so egregious. He just kind of unnecessarily escalated it to get him put into solitary. He wound up being in solitary, I think it was 7 days, was 7 or 9? I think it was 7.
Seven.
And
Seven.
I just coincidentally went to visit him on the day that he came off of solitary, and he said that it had been torturous for him, that he got about 2 hours of sleep. And solitary confinement is, you're not necessarily by yourself. He had a cellmate. His cellmate had some mental health challenges, which caused him to wake up in the middle of the night and talk very loudly, if I understand correctly. And so that
Wow.
would keep Ayman up. And then you also are only allowed out of your cell for a total of an hour. That includes your shower and any laundry and of those things that you're going to attempt to do. You're also not allowed to have anything. So he didn't have anything other than his clothes and sleeping materials.
Wow.
I got to see him in solitary, and I've never seen him so broken and traumatized. He told me he was thinking about doing a hunger strike, and he felt like the government was trying to punish him into self-deporting. And he said he closes his eyes and imagines himself being sent to Egypt. And that was the scene that was playing as he sat in his cell with only the company of a man who sadly was responding to internal stimuli the entire time they were together.
Oh my
Hmm.
God.
It's awful. I realized I
Yeah.
jumped ahead a little bit. I was wondering, well, we can come back to this as well, or you can keep talking, but I wanted to go back to the bridge, um, um, and talk a little bit about what happened there. But if you want to complete your thought on solitary, it sounded like you were about to say something.
Definitely, I want to get to that bridge. I have a whole. We're about to get there. That's going to be a whole thing. So let's continue talking about Ayman and what you got. Your thoughts on that.
Actually,
Adam.
what I was going to say was about the self-deport thing. So when I talked to Ayman, when he lost his asylum status, but before he'd been arrested, he felt, because there were several thousand other people that got their asylum status taken with explanation. And his understanding from his lawyers was that this was something that was happening to a lot of people. And so his belief even then was that this was an attempt to scare people and get them to just self-deport because that's easier. And then while in jail, he met another man from, I can't remember what country it was, but he wound up asking for Ayman's help with the people he knows outside of jail that might be able to help him get a hold of the gentleman's embassy so he could self-deport. This gentleman that he knew had just kind of given up on it. Ayman's situation was a little different though, because it's not like Ayman could deport and then he would just be homeless
That's
in
what I
another
wanted.
country. You know what I
That's
mean?
exactly what I
Or,
wanted to get to. So,
he,
for people who don't know, he's here as an asylum seeker. So self-deportation is a non-starter. Like you're here because you can't go back, right? And going back
I
is
want to
dangerous.
say something about that. I wanted to say, I forgot to mention that before he came to the United States, he was a journalist working in the Arab Spring and reporting on that for pro-democracy, pro-freedom of speech, justice. And because of that advocacy, he was tortured multiple times by the Egyptian authorities. And he was very confident and very clear from the Adam that if I go back to Egypt, I will be executed. And that was a consistent, like, he's well aware that it would be a death sentence. And he said that many times.
And then you come here and get tortured again.
Yeah. So before he lost his asylum status, all that stuff, I had met him. I'd started working with him in the NICU as a chaplain, and so just in a casual conversation, just getting to know each other, you know, I'm just like, hey, so what brought you here from Egypt? You know what I mean? Like, I had no idea his situation, and so this guy's like, yeah, well, it was a part of this freedom movement that attempted to establish democracy in my country, and then the government labeled me as a enemy of the state, and so I came here, and if I go back, I will be executed.
He wasn't looking for better weather, is what you're saying?
There was like, yeah, I'm half Mexican. I've been pulled over like 24 times, you know what I mean? Like, there's a few times in my life where I'm like, or I'm just like, yeah, things can be kind of tough because, you know, you're brown in this country. But I was like, I have a lot of privilege. Oh my God. Like, I have never been like, oh, if I go anywhere, like, I'm not afraid that I'm going to get executed, you know, like there's literally not, my name's not on a list, you know, to be executed. And it was a pretty big slap in the face for me, like, to kind of reassess my situation, you know?
Wow, man, I mean, what a story. So here's the deal. All of this happened. We can talk about the asylum. We can talk about solitary confinement, the abuse, and what I think is poignant even today, even now that he has come out, is this idea that people are getting abducted. That's not the worst of the worst. We've got to stop framing it as illegal. We've got to stop framing it as just some other legal thing that's happening. Like, this is terror, is terrorizing, is terrorism by the state to human beings. As all of this is unfolding, the media finds out. At what point were you guys affected? I mean, your job, were you fired? Was this at the letter point? Was this well after protests? Was this before the bridge that I want to get to, which I think was the big pivotal moment that for the outside media who didn't want to pay attention had to finally? At what point between the beginning to your firing did that?
Yeah, I can start that. When I did that news interview on Monday morning, then the following morning, Tuesday, I was told by a supervisor that I was facing disciplinary action.
Because of the interview?
Yes, up to and including termination. That was what was said to me. And I've worked at Children's for 10 years, and this was gut-wrenching. I can't even express the depth of fear that I was experiencing. Like, first of all, somebody I love could be deported and executed. Like, second of all, you know, I've got 5 kids. I've worked there for 10 years. My job was probably way too important. More important than was healthy.
Yeah.
And so then I was told that HR would kind of do an investigation and let me know what they decided. And so I just continued working as though nothing had happened for the next week or so. And then go ahead, Adam, because you were in the middle of that chronological timeline with the bridge.
Yeah. It gets like Lizzy and my situation kind of intersect at that point. So then on the Wednesday after that interview, they had HR meet with our department and just go over the media policy with us. And at that meeting, it was clear that if you were in any way inferred to be working, if it could be inferred that you represent the hospital, that you could be fired. It was like super nebulous information. So we would ask, like, they'd say, if your social media doesn't represent our values, you could be fired. And we were like, okay, so what are those values?
My next quote, what are the values?
Yeah, and literally verbatim, we were told, well, it can be kind of tricky. And it was like, what does that mean, And so the HR rep said,
I asked if I should send all my posts to them before I post them. Should I just send them, and would you guys be willing to look over them before I post it to make sure I wouldn't get consequences for that?
And although that's meant as a joke and an exposition of their faults, I would bet that there were a few people who took that and said, well, you know what, maybe you should.
No, that was the impression we got, was like, well, there is a department that you could send them to.
Wow.
And it was like, we were told you can't say
Trump.
that you work at the hospital at all. And so that's fine. I can refrain from saying I work at the hospital. Nothing on my social media said that I did. So that wasn't a problem. So I just rose my hand and said, hey, like, I'm supposed to speak at this rally tomorrow. What am I looking at? And so I had been working with a handful of people in contacting people to come to the rally and like speak at the rally. So I was designated as like one of the people, go find people to speak at the rally. And so because I worked with Ayman, they were like, yeah, that, you'd be great to have speak at it because you know him personally and I've worked with him at the hospital. So yeah, I'm happy to do that. So I ask, and she's like, well, we're talking like 10 people in your backyard, or like the news is going to be there. Because if the news is going to be there, then if they edit it in a way that says that you represent the hospital, then you could be terminated. So it's like, all right, well, there's my answer. So one of our friends suggested to me that I wear a shirt that said, my views do not reflect that of Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Because that was one of the statements that we were told was like, if you speak to the news to say my views do not represent Cincinnati Children's Hospital. So I was like, done, I'll just put a shirt on. That way, if I do get interviewed at some point at this thing, then, automatically, like, it's right there on display, so I had a shirt, like I just went and had a shirt made like that. And then I, told everybody like, hey, I'm not going to be able to speak. There's like 7 other speakers. I helped gather the speakers, I'm kind of like, you know what? It's fine. Like, I can refrain from speaking, but I'm going to I'm going to make sure that every camera can see me because to me, I wanted Ayman to see that somebody from his department cared about him. Somebody like, on top of that, I got people from all over the hospital of all different departments stopping me to say that it meant a lot to see me on the news at his first press conference, that it was an emotional thing for them to know that somebody else, one of the other chaplains, was there for him. So so the bridge, for those that don't know, the bridge, part of the goal was to march across the bridge from Cincinnati to Kentucky, and Covington, Kentucky. And we invited anybody that was willing to walk across the bridge to do so. So we turned around and started walking across the bridge. And halfway across the bridge, we started seeing like the police lights, and there must have been 15 police cars. They had police dogs with them, and they drove up on us like we were some sort of violent mob. We're literally holding a sign that says "Build bridges, not walls." We're not like we're unarmed, we're totally peaceful.
You're a terrorist Antifa.
We are committing the crime of walking in the road. You know what I mean? That's the worst you could say that we are doing. You know what I mean? And so, and this, to me, like, the pathetic part about it is like, it takes like 20 minutes to make that walk. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can just be like, all right, you just let them have their fun for 20 minutes and roll their eyes. They could have done that, but instead they roll up on us and and escalated 100 times. They pulled up on us, and I announced one time on the speaker, "Get off the road if you don't want to be arrested." So everybody that was uncomfortable getting arrested got off the road. But there was a couple people next to me before they could even react. They were already like getting cuffed up. Uh, so I got off the road. I helped other people get off the road. I bought a megaphone because all this stuff was starting. So I was like, I guess I better just start buying stuff. So I bought a megaphone and a PA speaker, all kinds of stuff, because I was like, I'm in this.
Yeah.
And so I just used that to kind of help get people to safety. They arrested 13 of us. They tried to charge all of them with felonies, felonious writing. Um, there was one really sad chain of events that happened, and that was while one person was getting handcuffed, there was a guy behind the officer recording, and that officer backed up and bumped into him, and he took that as aggression. So he spun around onto the bystander and turned around onto the wrong guy, the guy that wasn't even the person he bumped into, and assumed this other gentleman was the person that he bumped into, lifted his pepper spray pellet gun, and the guy just sees a gun and takes off running. So they start shooting him as he runs away. And then these other cops see him running, so they chase him down, and they brutalize that dude. They caught him and they just beat him.
Oh my God.
Like you can see it in the footage. A friend of mine, I didn't know it was her until weeks later, but a friend of mine was trying to pull the officer off of him, and she wasn't strong enough to pull him off, and somehow she, didn't get arrested or anything. They were so concerned with this one gentleman who was literally just standing there initially. And so he faces probably the worst charges of it and is in a big legal battle over it. He has sustained permanent injury because of it. For those same four people all went to the hospital. So
for the crime of making me feel less powerful for half a second, it's all about the power, how much power I have and how I can show it, which is why they can't wait 20 minutes, because it's not about the march. It's not about the rioting. It's about you getting across this bridge means you think you're in charge, a-hole, and we need to let you know we're in charge. We have to force our boot on your neck. It's important to us that you know that, because I don't have anything else going for me, because I'm an idiot, because I'm uneducated, because I raised my hand to hurt brown people, and that's the only thing that gives me life. I can't read. I can't enjoy creativity and music. I can't dance. I have a small dick, and I'm fucking hate everything about your joy. I apologize.
Yeah,
I know I'm speaking to people of the cloth. I apologize.
That's right.
I've been trying to hold it in for a long time now. This isn't my usual podcast voice. Now is where I hand it over to Rook.
You can just buy a shirt maybe that says that you don't speak for the rest of us.
Yeah, there we go. Well done, sir. Well said.
But I agreed with most everything you just had to say. So
no, I feel the same way. I learned through this group called Mennonite Action. My denomination is Mennonite, and 150 of us were arrested demanding a free Palestine in the Cannon House office space across from the Capitol building. And we just went there, sang hymns, and then sat on the ground until they arrested us, which only took about 5 minutes. But I learned from that the goal wasn't so much like to sit down on the ground and sing hymns. It was that the fact that they would arrest us for doing essentially nothing would make it onto the news.
Yep.
And so that I was grateful to take that new knowledge with me to this situation with Ayman and just say to everybody that was involved, like, let's do whatever we can do to keep him in the news. And so if that means that, so they fired us, and I'm not happy about getting fired, but what I thought was, now this is going to help keep him in the news. And so that was what I was so excited about. 10 minutes after after people were arrested, it was already in the news that people were arrested for protesting for Ayman Soliman, and that was making national headlines. And so now the whole nation would know who Ayman Soliman was. And so while I'm not happy about people being brutalized by any means, it does mean that that side showed themselves for who they really are. It demonstrated like that they're willing to do evil things because we walked in the road at the wrong time, quote unquote. So from there, the next morning, or the next no, the next day at 4 p.m., I got called into a Teams meeting and told that I was suspended because of social media concerns. That's all I was told. I asked if they wanted me to take anything down. They said, no, no, not, you don't need to take anything down. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it's whatever it is so dangerous I can't be around patients, but not so egregious that it needs to be taken down. You know what I mean?
It's
So
in other people's social media. We saw you getting arrested,
yeah, I don't know. I
fighting
have no
for
idea what it was, So the next
decency.
Monday, I mean they did this at 4 p.m. on a Friday because they knew that I think they knew me well enough to know that I would reach out to a lawyer. And 4 p.m. on a Friday, they knew I'd have a harder time getting hold of somebody. So um, come Monday, they fired me at 3:45 p.m. and they fired Lizzy at 4 p.m. And we went and picked our stuff up the next day.
No, I picked my stuff up that day.
Oh, you did? That's right.
They told me that HR would be reaching out to me, and they thought it would be Tuesday or Wednesday. So on Monday morning, I took PTO, and I went and cleared my office out
What?
because I didn't want to do the walk of shame.
Yeah. Oh, how embarrassing. What's your religion? What's your denomination?
Disciples of Christ Christian Church.
Okay. And so I think that's really important for people to know. We're talking about Jewish, Christian, and Islam fighting for one another, right? Just
the commitments
really
denominationally are incredibly important. Like my church growing up has always called itself a movement for wholeness in a fractured world. And so that was taught to me from a really early age that when things are wrong, we do what we can to fix what's broken because God calls us to lives of abundance. And when people are doing injustice, that destroys our opportunities to have abundance. So I think that is like a really important note that each of our faith commitments, including Islam, including Judaism, including Native Americans, all at their heart prioritize justice and well-being for all people. And people twist those messages and turn them into something disgusting. Peel away the disgust, and like beautiful things can happen, but it can be abused too.
Oh. Yeah, before I go ahead, Rip.
I'm so it was around that time that I think I first read about Iman's story, and I think it was as a result of the bridge incident. And we wrote an article, but I think it was about a week later. There was a gal on a group call we were on. I believe her name was
Iowa?
Nyla. Yeah, and Nyla in the group call, she didn't know that we had written an article about Ayman, but she called out for help from any of these people on the call to see what we could do to help. And I think it was shortly after that I connected with her and then connected with you guys. And I'm just really grateful that you guys were on the ground and doing what you were doing. You talked about how you wish more people had gotten involved, but I am so happy because without you guys, I don't know if this story ends up the same way, with the same ending. And Lizzy, maybe you can talk a little bit about that day.
I was literally in a therapy session, and WhatsApp popped up with a message saying Ayman is going to be released. And I swear to you, I just stopped, slack-jawed in the middle of my session. My therapist's like, "Are you okay?" I couldn't even be happy because I was terrified it wasn't true. And I thought, if I'm happy about this, it's going to be the letdown of my life.
Yep.
If it's not actually happening. so I just pretended like therapy could continue. And as soon as therapy was over, I opened it up, the message, and I saw the messages there. I saw it was like validated by another person. But I still couldn't believe it until I saw the picture like of Ayman outside of the detention center. And then I just lost it. I don't think, I mean, I've lost a lot of people in my life, including my mom. I don't think I've cried. Then I cried the day that he was released, because it was like everything hit me all at once. I'd shoved it all down and kept it moving. And then it like removed the stop from my emotions, and I just couldn't stop crying. I cried the whole way to drive to the mosque, which is where he was at that point doing his Friday prayers. And so awkward and weird, because I couldn't go in without a hijab, that the security guard outside asked if I was okay and offered me some water because I was trying to peek in the door to see if I could lay eyes on him. And then finally Adam came out, and we hugged and we talked, and then Ayman came out, and I wanted to be respectful because he's an imam, so I didn't hug him, but I went to stand next to him and to show him like just how ecstatic I was to see him. Words cannot express like all of our gratitude for everyone's hard work, everyone's advocacy, people who spoke, people who wrote, people who reposted, people who were creative in drawing, singing, hanging up signs, hanging up banners, all led to this moment where he was able to leave detention center one morning without him expecting to even, and go to pray and go to lunch with me and Adam and a few other people. It was incredible. I don't have words, and I always have words. Ask Adam.
And what was it like for you that day?
Yeah, similar for Lizzy. Like, I was just gonna go get in the shower when I saw WhatsApp. It said it was from Ahmed Kali. He's like Ayman's best friend, and he's a rocket scientist. And so he said Ayman's getting released today. And so like Ahmed is not like some dude who's gonna easily believe a rumor. You know what I mean? Like he's a scientist, you know. So so it was hard because it was like I wanted to believe it, I wanted to be cautious, and so I called him immediately and was like, "Hey, I just want to make sure like this is real." And he said, "Yeah, I'm on my way to the jail right now. I don't know what time you'll be released, but I don't remember if he said he called me or they called me, but I'm pretty sure Ayman called him." And so at first I was like, okay, well, I'll take my shower and I'll find out when he's getting out. And when I got out of the shower, I was like, what am I doing? I'll just drive there and I'll hang out with Ahmed until he gets out. Like, what am I doing? So, I also like, sorry, when he told me it was real, I just started sobbing, and my son heard me and came upstairs and just said, hey, is everything, or I'm sorry, my wife's heard me and ran upstairs and was like, is everything okay? And I couldn't get words out. Like, all I could do was nod, like, yeah, trying to say everything's fine. And eventually told her. Then I showered and I just kept sobbing, like when I started realizing I can just go. And so my son came and asked if I was okay, and I told him. And then it was about 20 minutes into my drive, I got the picture that Ahmed was with Ayman, and I was able to hold my composure because I needed to drive. And I called them, and Ayman answered and said that he was going to go to the mosque to just meet him at the mosque. And so
I called him
same thing
too,
was
Adam. Did you know that?
I just stood outside the mosque till he showed up, and then bawled my eyes out and saw him. I'm
I
sorry.
had to hear his voice too. I texted
Oh.
Ahmed to say, like, let me know when I can talk to him. And so I only talked for like 20 seconds, but I just had to like hear from him. But Adam's smarter than me. I just cried the whole time I drove. I tried to listen to Counting Crows, and it was useless. I couldn't sing along at all because I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say thank you for being there on the ground, because writing an article, not being in Ohio, very little I could do in terms of logistics. But I really wanted to help and understood from the beginning that if deported, he was going to die. And So I'm just, it was kind of a small world situation as well. Just that someone on this group chat was gonna, bring up his name again. So thanks to Nyla, thanks to you, thanks
Amen.
to
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nyla, what was
I
really cool
think
about
that's
Nyla
another.
was
Sorry.
Nyla came to we just, because we love Iman, we just said on social media, I was just like, hey, meet at my house. We're gonna stuff letters and send them to Iman and to any other people that he's incarcerated with to give to them. And so I think we put together like 40 letters, and Nyla was one of the people that came to that. And just in talking, she was like, hey, I'm gonna be in this group. She basically like reached out to a whole mess of people, and I'm grateful that you were the one that responded, Brooke, because your insights and your ideas, like you really helped give us tools to be able to do things for Iman.
And maybe we can talk about some of those tools because I mean, we came up with a ton of ideas. It was just kind of, a board with sticky notes, digital sticky notes, and like, here's this idea, and like, so I think I presented maybe 50 different ideas. Some good, some goofy, some really good, some not so good. But I think you're able to look at some of those and understand Ohio, understand the different places people could protest. Can you talk about some of the different things you guys did and what you saw as effective and why?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I talked to
Before you do
you
this, Adam,
about, yep.
I want to say, like, every step or part of our goal was to, how would you say this? Like, encourage the media to cover it. Because every time the media would cover things that were happening, increase again the accountability for the people involved.
Yep.
So I think like the same thing with the bridge. It was a terrible event that had this one good consequence of increased awareness. Us getting fired, same thing. I had another interview talking about that, and then we like harnessed that in the actions that we did after those events for the purpose of continuing to engage the media, to present both Iman's goodness, which we believe wholeheartedly in, and the injustice, which we were so intimately aware was happening. So go ahead, Adam.
No, I really appreciate it too, because I'm thinking about when we did the actions, there was a sense from the community that like, oh, Adam and Lizzy have buy-in. Like they're two of the people that like they really mean business. And I think that helped people feel encouraged to come, because I think one, they could kind of contrast like, oh, I'm not having to worry nearly as much as they did. They've already paid a pretty good price, and then two, like these people really know him. And so I think that also helped. So yeah, Rook, you reached out to me, and you just had like the big thing for me is like you just had so much vision. And so from there, I reached out to the various people that are a part of Iman's support, and was just like, hey, I just talked to this dude named Rook. He's got a pretty strong social media following, and he has like some serious vision. And so I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anybody from the group that was going to be like, oh yeah, I'll take over that. And so they just bounced the ball back to me. And so I told you, and you came up with 50 things that we could do across 10 days leading up to his next hearing. And so that was great, because then it was like, oh, I just got to choose 10 of these. And after the bridge, I got a sense from people there was some fear. Like there was real fear in the community. Like people were afraid to get beat up, arrested and beat up. And I don't blame them. What's great about these actions were that they were accessible, and that they still had to show up. There was still some buy-in, but it wasn't as steep as like I might get arrested for this. And so it started out easy. Like looking through, you had a whole bunch of ideas with chalk, and I told a few people later, like I had no idea that there could be that chalk could be so powerful. And so the first one we did was at a big park here in downtown, and I just put out a call to people like, hey, we're going to be at this park at this time. We're just going to everywhere we can. We're just going to put free Iman, and do it however creative you want to be. And so from there was other simple actions like that were accessible, like changing your profile picture to Free Iman and then just putting a little blurb as to why you did that. And then putting up like signs throughout, like just making a balloon that wrote Free Iman on it and putting that someplace in your neighborhood. And the chalk thing really took off the best because I say that because there was a guy at my church who the following Sunday stopped me and was like, "Hey, I was walking in my neighborhood and there was this chalk drawing on the ground." And he showed it to me and it said, "Free Iman, thank you, Adam Allen photo," with my Instagram handle. And so it was incredible to see like I took that thank you as that person felt empowered by what they saw on my social media. And so I, cried, of course. And then it moved to things that were like you had to actually show up for. So one was this giant mural that we made with chalk on the top of a tall parking garage. And then I got somebody with a drone to fly over that and just create a video, like a reel for Instagram and TikTok that we could post. And that got a lot of views, but the big thing was it just kept him in people's mind. Then we stuffed 400 letters and sent that to the governor, just asking for him to intervene in whatever way he could, if he could. And even then, there was still like Governor DeWine really couldn't do anything, but it wasn't so much whether he could or couldn't. It was the fact that there was 400 letters that were being sent to him, and then 1,100 signature petition that Lizzy wrote that was also going to be delivered to him. And so, over the course of all these actions, the local news caught on to that, and again, he wound up in the news. And what was really also incredible to me about that, I think, is remarkable, is her name is Danny Dindak. She was the reporter that met with me and Lizzy, and she's asking us about the actions, and she's like, I think she said something like, "So, this guy seems pretty important to you. Like, what made you do this?" So then I kind of smiled. I was like, "Well, we're the two chaplains that got fired." And she was like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know." Like,
What?
she just knew, like, she had just heard about the actions, and that's how impactful they had been, and that what she was hearing more about was that than the fact that two people got fired. And I think that there's something remarkable about that because that's very positive and powerful.
Iman would approve. It seems like that idea of focusing on that positive, overcoming the negative, right, is
The negative broke Iman's heart. Like,
Mm.
I tried to not tell him I got fired, but he saw it on the news. When the bridge happened, his heart was broken for that. He was so scared and worried about people and sad about it. So we definitely were very thankful when the attention turned towards like the actions that Adam, and Adam's a little bit modest, but he made like social media graphics. He put the word out and encouraged people to come through many, many videos. And I did like Facebook posts. We did Instagram, trying to bring about that support. So Adam took, I would say, 97.5% of responsibility for bringing about those 10 actions. And I was able to come with my kids.
It's very sweet of you.
So that,
I will emphasize though that, like, one, I no longer had a job, so I had time, and then two, and honestly, I was like, I don't have a job right now, and my friend is in jail. I'm going to use all of the resources I have to help my friend. So that part was kind of a no-brainer. But the other thing is, Lizzy has 5 kids. I just got one. So
one of the things you guys were doing, and I think before the 10 days of action, but you guys were writing letters to Ayman. And I think we incorporated that on one of the days. Can you talk about, Lizzy or Adam,
how that affected Ayman and how many letters he received?
Yeah, go ahead, Lizzy.
Yeah, Ayman spoke during the visits that the letters were a huge component of what was sustaining him. that they meant the world to him. He would go over specific letters that he had received that were deeply meaningful. And so part of the social media outreach was providing his address to everyone who requested it and encouraging everyone to write to him. And so that was like a huge piece. We had components of our advocacy designed to encourage Mike DeWine to intervene. We had another group of people doing other organizing based on other goals. And then we had a group of people organizing on the basis of supporting Ayman's well-being during this incredibly traumatizing event. And that was a huge component of the how do we keep Ayman, how do we reduce the trauma so that when he is released, God willing, like he will be able to do everything that we hoped and he hoped to be able to do. So those letters, I can't overemphasize how meaningful that they were to him.
Ayman said at his press conference when he got out that he had received 760 letters over the course of that 72 days.
I never knew the final total. So there was also, I think there was a choir at one point. I don't know if you guys, can you tell us about that?
I think that was one of your ideas. You like suggested a choir, just like just singing songs on the corner of some busy street. And so my church has a choir. It's not very, it's like 5 or 6 people. So I just asked like, hey, I asked the leader, like, could you participate in this? And he was like, yeah, we'll get as many people as I can there. I think there was like 3 people from the choir that could make it, but there was still something like 30 people that showed up to it just from the social media posts. And then business cards are super cheap. You know what I mean? There's like 250 of them for like $30 at Staples. And so I just designed a real basic business card that said Ayman was arrested by ICE without cause and faces deportation and execution. And then you flip it over and it said, join us in reaching out to Governor DeWine to advocate for his release, and then a QR code on it and a picture of Ayman and a QR code that led to the petition and other resources like giving to his legal fund, all kinds of. So like what I did was I just went and got a link tree and all the links to everything. You just slap it on that link tree. The link tree is free. So, his story, we had a link to his story, a link to his legal fund, a link to his petitions. And then, we got 250 of these things for $30. So then we just, I just split them up and the rest of us just stood on the street corner. And every time somebody walked by, it's like, hey, can I tell you about my friend Ayman? Hey, I would just say that.
So that's exactly right. I think the accessibility piece was a really cool piece that Adam mentioned about these, but there was plenty of room for people of all like levels of like openness and commitment to participate. So my 8-year-old daughter, my kids are Muslim. My 8-year-old daughter got her first experience like witnessing with those cards, and she went up to like many people and said, hi, you can use this card to learn about our friend named Ayman. Hi, you can use this card to learn about our friend named Ayman. And it was like very, very wonderful to see that Adam had made this. An 8-year-old child can be involved in this effort, all the way up to a 73-year-old who's willing to do a whole lot in his right as well.
I think we have to hone in on the fact that creativity, the chalk, worked best. The singing, the choir worked best. It was able to be accessible to an 8-year-old because this idea of creativity is always going to beat fascists. It's always going to beat the rigid, follow the order, boot over the neck, because they only have one tool for their emotions, and it's lashing out. Beat you up, run down. The reason why that cop didn't even know that there was somebody pulling him off was because he only had one response. He doesn't talk, doesn't read, he doesn't go to counseling. The only thing they know is pepper spray, bullet. That's it. That's their response. And when it's that limited, you are struck. Their entire philosophy is struck dead when somebody puts a little color in, when somebody paints on the road and you don't know what to do. All you can do is lash out. And these these are when they say fascists can't dance, that's what they mean. Is the idea of creativity, being creative, drawing outside the line, thinking outside the box, is so human, so democratizing that fascists cannot stand up to it. So I have a big question here. Those lonely, sick, emotionally stunted police officers, how many of them do you think can actually satisfy their wives at home? I'm willing to bet not very many.
He's asking the chaplains.
Wait a minute, hold on. What's going on?
I can
No,
talk
hold
about
on.
that.
Wait. Rook, not again. On the second podcast, all hell breaks loose. I didn't even lose the lights this time. This time, the cat ran across the desk here, destroyed everything. I swear that cat is being controlled by the feds, man. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, man. What did you do?
I don't know. You need to work on pussy control. So yeah, I did a thing last night. Been seeing these frogs in Portland, inflatable outfits, and just mocking the ridiculousness of what's happening. And they try to frame people as violent, but they're not violent. It's the opposite. And anyway, last night I decided, well, let's see if we could. Well, first I asked a question. I said, does anyone want an inflatable costume but can't afford one? We're thinking about starting a fundraiser. And the response was overwhelming. There was definitely a demand. So then we worked on the supply side and we set up a donation link. Long story short, we're sending out over 100 inflatable costumes to people throughout the country. The first shipments have already gone out. We're continuing to work through the list. I think we had 198 submissions. We can't guarantee everyone a costume, but it's been a joy to see happen. And we're looking forward to No King's Day and all the inflatable costumes out there on the street.
Bro, you are a daggone hero, man.
Our readers are heroes. They donated, the next 72 hours worth of donations are all going to go towards inflatable costumes. So now we're working on shopping and shipping and just need to make sure they all get there before Saturday. So yeah, thank you to the readers and supporters for helping make this happen. And yeah, it's going to be wild.
Wow. That is awesome, man. I guess I got to send my donation in next. The hundreds of costumes. I guess the people
we had someone from Uruguay donate $400.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
dude.
I think we raised over $4,000. I'll go back and check the numbers. And some costumes are more expensive than others, and of course they're shipping. But we're trying to do this the most efficiently, the best way possible. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone out there, and just want to again thank our readers and supporters. This is fantastic.
We're gonna go ahead and show this clip, guys. Nothing warms the heart more than watching fascists not know what to do when they're hit with anything creative.
President Trump will end the radical left's reign of terror in Portland once and for all.
You look at Portland, and you see fires all over the place. You see fights and, just violence.
This network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years.
When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night to come and go from their building.
Slide to the left.
I'm dying.
Slide to the right. Crisscross.
You look at what's happened with Portland over the years. It's a burning hellhole.
Oh shit!
That's fantastic. I can watch it over and over again.
Oh my god, that is beautiful. For you people who are just listening, that you missed it. You go to YouTube. I think on Spotify you'll be able to see it. That was just the absolute perfect juxtaposition of the stupid, idiotic lies of this administration, with frogs thrusting their hips, old people singing "This land is made for you and me." Wow, outstanding.
It's lovely.
With that, people, we're out of here. Listen, we will see you on the next podcast. Do we have a sign off? What's our sign off?
I don't know. Buckle the fuck up.